Hello and welcome back to my podcast, or welcome if this is your first time watching. I am Jessica and this is a podcast all about knitting. I think I'll just dive right in. Since the last time I did a podcast, which was about a month and a half ago, I've had 3 patterns come out. They are basically everything I've worked on up through August of this year, so it's kind of fun to have them all out in the world. So the first one is Bloem, B-L-O-E-M, which came out with Quince and Co at the beginning of August, and I don't have the sample, so I thought I'd show you my swatch, my initial design swatch that I made for it. So it's got this floral motif that wraps around the yoke. It's really pretty calm. The borders lend it some structure so it doesn't get too wild, but I think it's really nice. The color kind of wraps around your shoulders and your chest. I think it's really pretty. I'm gonna have to make one for myself since the sample won't fit me even when I get it back. But there's the first one that came out, is Bloem. So that one was with Quince and Co. And then I've got this. I've shown you this before, but Little Abloom came out Labor Day weekend. So this is the pullover version, and of course the dress. Wouldn't want to forget the dress. So this is worked top down in the round, and it's got a lovely stranded colorwork motif around the yoke. So this one came out at the beginning, very end of August, beginning of September. So this one is out. I'm going to do an adult version of this too, but I haven't had time to yet. I think it'll be really pretty. You can kind of see what it would look like. Maybe I'll scooch it down a little bit. So I'm very excited at the prospect of matching the girls. I really like to match my children, which is possibly weird, but anyway, I like to. So this one is out too, and it comes in both a pullover and a dress. So if you want to make a dress, you can make a dress. I'll put links to the Ravelry pages or the pattern pages for these patterns in the show notes down below, so you can find them easily and go find the pattern. The other thing that came out just on the 4th is this. I haven't shown this off at all. This was my contribution to Making Stories September collection. So I did that pattern way back in February and March, and then right after I finished the sample and sent it off to Germany, I immediately cast this on. So I thought I'd give you a good look at it here. It was really cold earlier this week, so I got to wear it quite a bit. It's just super cozy, super nice. So, yeah, it fits really well. I did a top-down contiguous set-in sleeve. You can see the shoulder line there. It just goes right into the sleeve cap, which is made all by increases. So you increase every row on each side of this line here. So right side and wrong side, you increase on both sides. And then when you get to the sleeve cap, you start increasing just on the sleeve cap side, but not on the body side, so you just increase on this side. And then you make a really nice fitting shoulder and sleeve cap that is totally seamless. And it's really nice. I think it fits really nice. It sits really nice on the shoulders. You know, with the raglan sleeve sweater, often they'll just kind of start to go downward, but this one doesn't. It sits really nice on the shoulders and just stays put like it's supposed to. So the rest of the sweater is, chair makes a lot of noise, is plain, and the collar is a mix of garter stitch on the front bit, and then when you get up to the shoulder area, it switches to ribbing around the back. So you have this little transition right here, which is very simple and understated, but I really like how it looks. Just that little bit of flare, very simple flare. And the cuffs are a little extra long, just for fun, with a nice fitted sleeve. Another thing I am proud of, which probably nobody will even notice, is here alongside where the hem ribbing comes into the garter stitch. You can see it's got a double column of knit there, and a double column of knit on the other side too. It kind of annoys me when you pick up stitches for the shawl collar and the sides are not identical. So I designed it so that the sides will be identical in all of the sizes. So it's just a little something that I'm proud of. I'm watching my 2-year-old on the video monitor. He's supposed to be napping and he's just stripping himself naked. So anyway, this is very warm. It's actually too warm to wear it today. It's like 80 degrees, so I'm gonna have to take that off. But this was made in Barrett Wool Co. Woolen Spun, the worsted weight. This is color Rain Shower. You can see it's a heathered oatmeal color, which is really pretty. So this is it's really lightweight, and it has some good structure to it. This yarn does. The sample I made for making stories was knit in O Wool Balance. So that one is a much drapier yarn, which looks really nice too. So I think it will work well in both woolly and drapey yarns, depending on what your preference is. I wanted something a little more rustic maybe, so I went with this yarn. So anyway, plus the woolen spun will last forever, which this is basically my ultimate wear with everything sweater, which is what I really needed. So it's what I designed. I wanted it to fit really well and look really good with basically everything, but mostly I'm probably just gonna wear it with t-shirts and jeans, and that's just what I wear, so it will look good. I'm very happy with it. It's very cozy, very warm. Very happy with it. So it's currently available as the whole collection. You have to buy it once. You can't buy just the individual pattern. So it's available as part of the collection right now, and I'll put a link to that down below. But I'll get the pattern back so that I can publish it independently by itself in January sometime. So if you sign up to my newsletter, which I'll also put a link to down below, then you can definitely know when this pattern is available individually if you don't want to buy the rest of the collection as well. But anyway, I'll put it on one more time so you can see it, because it is a really fantastic sweater. I'm really, really pleased with it. Not to toot my own horn too much, but I'm really, really pleased with it, how it turned out. It looks really good, really good. It does look really good. The sleeves are a little tight because I made my normal size and my arms are a little bigger because I'm, 8 months pregnant. So yeah, it looks really good. Sorry about the chair noise. Even on my big pregnant self, it looks fantastic, so yeah. Anyway, I'm really happy with it. I'm gonna wear it until it falls off me, basically. That's the plan, and then I might have to make another one. It's way too hot to wear it right now. Alright, so there's that one. Then, the next thing that I made, is a pair of booties for the baby. So this is the bootie pattern from the Heirloom Seeds collection that I did with Quince and Co. They're the shoot booties. It's not focusing quite right. So they're knit top down, so you start at the top and knit the cuff, and then you knit the instep. You just work the front bit out, and then you pick up stitches all the way around, and work in the round around the foot, and then you do some decreases and excuse me, and then you do graft the sole together with Kitchener stitch. So this is the sole, so it's seamless. I didn't do it very neatly on this one. This one's a little neater, but that way there's no seam to be uncomfortable for the baby. And there's an eyelet row right around here, so you can lace these I-cord ties in. I have found that the best thing to use as ties on booties for babies are I-cord, because they can usually untie the bow part, but that little half knot you start with, they don't usually get undone, and then they just don't pull out. So it still keeps them on really well. So this is a very simple bootie pattern that will go with basically anything. So it's the shoot booties. This is the 6-month size. I don't think I'll need anything any bigger than this for this baby, for this winter. I had almost an entire skein of Finch, Quince and Co Finch in the color Caspian, so that's what I used for this. I'm just going to try to use all my little bits and pieces of yarn for booties since they don't take very much yarn. So there's booties for the baby. Then we have Jimmy's sweater for this year. This is Little November. The test knit for this one is currently going. A lot of my testers chose some really bright or high contrast colors, which look really fantastic too. Let's show it off a little more. There, you can see it a little better. So this one is top down in the round as well. And I designed this. This colorwork motif is supposed to remind you of November when it's all gray, and these are supposed to be like the grass seed heads. That's my inspiration. It's worked in Quince and Co Finch, so the colors I've worked it in are Abloom for the main color, and then Kumlian's Gold and Kittiwake. Or maybe I switched those around. I really like the all neutrals and the grays. I think it looks really good. So this is a size 4, which is a little bit big for Jimmy. It fits Brenna pretty much perfectly, so I took some pictures of her in it. It's just really cute. But this will be Jimmy's sweater for the winter, which he will grow into. And then we'll just take a quick jaunt over into whips, making one an adult size too. So this one's for me. It's the adult November pattern, which I should start the test knit in a little more than a week, maybe next weekend. So that's focused good. I wanted to do the exact same colors as Jimmy's, but this is Finch, which is the fingering weight, and this is Lark, which is the worsted weight, and they were sold out of this color for ever and ever. So I switched, and I switched to Iceland for the main color, on mine. So it's just a lot of gray on gray. But yeah, I like it. I like gray. I really like gray. So it doesn't bother me too much. Something I did notice though, these contrast colors are the exact same as on the kids version, but you can tell, if I hold it up, you can tell that the lark ones are a little bit darker than the finch ones. So there's a little more contrast. I didn't expect this to be nearly black when I selected the colors, because I swatched for it in finch and I did this first, so you can tell it's just a dark heather gray, but then when you buy the same colorway in lark, it's nearly black. I guess maybe it is technically black, but it's a very, very dark gray. So it's there's different levels of contrast in this versus the kids, which I think is fine. Sometimes it can be hard because I don't have a yarn store that I can actually go to and see things in person, so I kind of just gotta make my best guess, looking at it on the computer and see what I get when it comes. So yeah, sometimes that happens. Excuse me. So, top down in the round, it's got two sections of short rows that are used to lift the back neck. You can see it's a bit higher. So one section is here above the colorwork and the next section is here under, which I think fits really nice. I've already blocked the yoke, so that's why it looks so nice. I do not have, my tension is not this even at all. So I blocked it. I like to go a little ways into the body and then block it and try it on and see how it fits then. Because sometimes when it's colorwork, it'll be kind of bunched up and not really sitting properly, or how it would be after it was blocked, so then it can be kind of inaccurate. Kind of inaccurate if you're checking the fit, so I like to do that. And I like how it fit, so this one. So these two will be out in November. Because when else would you release a pattern named November? So anyway. Then I'm going to go back to FOs, kind of jumping around here. Excuse me. I'm still recovering from a nasty cold that I picked up the very beginning of the month, so it was not fun to end summer on that note. Tiny bit grumpy about it. So this is for the baby. This one. I decided, since it's in late October baby, it needs something to wear home. All of the rest of my babies were born May through August, so it was not cold for them when they were newborn, so I don't have a lot of really small stuff for the baby. So, you know, not really something I'm complaining about. So I designed this little vest. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, so I wanted something pretty neutral. Pretty simple. So it's just garter stitch with these slipped stitch columns running all the way up to the shoulder. So it's very simple. Works well for no matter what gender it is. So I really like vests on babies, but I'm also very, very picky. I don't like buttons on them or closures of any kind. So this one is worked from the bottom up, and then you work the front and back separately, and then finally you Kitchener the shoulders together, which my Kitchener isn't super duper neat, so you can kind of tell where it's been seamed together. Anyway, and then the edges are slipped, so it has a nice clean edge along the shoulder. Looks like that. So it looks nice and clean. So it's very simple, very fast to knit. I made this in Barrett Wool Co. Wisconsin Wool and Spun color rain shower, so it will match my sweater. I didn't do it so that it would match my sweater, but I just really like this color, and I had enough left over after the sweater that I was able to make most of this little set. But there's a little vest and a little bonnet. So it's also just garter stitch with the slip stitch columns. And then the columns end where the crown decreases begin. So it's very simple little bonnet design, and then it's got I-cord ties on it, which are, so you knit from the front to where the crown decreases begin. You knit flat, and then you join it in the round, and you knit the crown, and then you pick up the stitches underneath all the way around the bottom edge, all the way around this edge. Then you work your I-cord, and then you work an I-cord bind off around, then work another length of I-cord. That way it's securely attached and it neatly finishes it, and you have a little bonnet. And it wouldn't be complete without some booties. They have slip stitch down the front of the instep, so it comes down the front of the cuff too. Front of the cuff and then down the instep. And the rest of it is just all garter stitch, with of course the ties. So baby will have something nice and warm to wear home with all this. So I've got the patterns for this written, but I just haven't been able to start the test knit just because I haven't had time. So hopefully early next week I can start the test knit, because I'd like to have this tested and done and published before the baby is born, which is less than 6 weeks away. So there we go. The going home set is what I've named this. Very creatively named this. So baby will be nice and warm in all of that. Another thing I'm making for baby, which I don't know if I mentioned this before, but we don't find out what we're having when we're having babies. We don't find out the gender beforehand, because it's really fun to have it be a surprise. So I don't know if this is a boy or a girl. I'm absolutely convinced it's a boy, but I was absolutely convinced Talia was a boy, and she was not. So we just have to wait and see. So I'm making this little sweater. This is another one of my patterns, but this is one I published probably a couple years ago. I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. This is Silver Creek. And I love, 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 love garter stitch on babies. It's just squishy and perfect. I like it. So it's got these cables running down the sides, front and back. So front and back are identical. There's no short rows or anything to raise the neck, because it is a baby and child pattern, so I didn't do that. But it's top down, raglan increases, sleeves are just garter stitch, and then the bottom will be 2x2 ribbing, and the sleeve cuffs are 2x2 ribbing as well. So cute little cabled and garter stitch sweater. This is a 3-month size. Goes up to size 6 years, I think. But I decided to make this again because I just really like this pattern. It's one of my favorite patterns that I have designed for babies. So I thought I would make it again. This is Quince and Co Chickadee in what color? Bird's egg. Bird's egg. So it's really pretty blue. It's gonna be really soft and cozy. So this is my table knitting project. I've been working on this while we do school because we've been homeschooling. So I have this at the table so I don't lose my mind. I think the thing you most need when you're homeschooling small children is patience. So it's good to have something handy. So when they're taking forever, you can just knit and not lose your mind. So this little sweater is going. It'll probably get done really quick because this is a 3-month size and I feel like I've barely worked on it and I'm already right underneath the arms. So there was quite a bit of projects to show you. A bit of a whirlwind. Hopefully it doesn't feel too much like whiplash. But anyway, that's everything I have. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of baby knitting in the next little bit. So hopefully you don't mind baby knitting. Yeah. I'll put links down below to all of the patterns that I've shown in the video, and I'll put links to where you can find me on Ravelry and on Instagram. I'm Jessica M Knits in both of those places. And I'll put a sign up link for my newsletter as well if you want to make sure not to miss out on my new releases. I always include a discount code in my newsletter, so if you want to have a discount on my new patterns, then sign up for my newsletter. So I think that's everything that I have to show you for today. So thank you for watching, and until next time, bye!